Outside it was pouring with a pounding rain, but the man's ears went into a deathly silence. He could hear nothing but the voice of a strange man, even though the two had never met, but everyone told him that the man was his soulmate. In the setting of this world, there is a supernatural disease that very few people get. Whenever it rains, the sufferer goes suddenly deaf. They will isolate themselves from all sounds in the world. Only people who are mutual soulmates can communicate. Tai, the main character, is a colonist and a sufferer of rainy day deafness. Tai believes that sudden rainy day deafness is both a miracle and a curse. It's the same as when he sees the couple in the cafe. Only the boys suffer from sudden deafness, so when it rains, the boys can't hear their date. The waiter next to him felt envious and thought the boy was lucky to have this condition. Tai, who was suffering from sudden deafness, found it very disturbing. He has also developed the habit of using sticky notes to communicate with people on rainy days. The reason why Tai finds it disturbing is due to another special feature of the condition. That is when certain patients turn 20. As long as they are in the same rainy day, they can't hear the voice of their soulmate. This is also known as the rainy zephyr. But Tai is very resistant to this first destiny. Tai's parents are also sufferers of this disease. They were once a loving couple who were soulmates. Together they raced for sons, Eric, Sam, Ka and Tai. Unexpectedly, change came 2 years ago. At Tai's 20th birthday party, they announced that their relationship had broken down and they had decided to divorce. Tai was devastated and hid in his room, crying in secret. His younger brother, Ken, stood by him silently outside the door. This is also when Tai first hears the voice of his soulmate calling him. But due to his parents' divorce, Tai decided that he would never develop a relationship with his soulmate. So even though that soulmate persisted for 2 years, talking to him unilaterally, Tai never responded to his soulmate either. Not only was Tai afraid to interact with people, he was also a very stubborn person. He goes to the office once in a while and works only to interact with the familiar Gaia. Basically, he never goes to the company's office to work. Most of his co-workers have only heard of Tai, but have never met him. Gaia urges Tai to let go of his defenses and talk to other people. Tai, however, is very adamant about his lifestyle. Tai finds his favorite seat with ease. He ceremoniously set up his little potted plant and put on his glasses. Immediately, he began to carefully observe the people around him. He hoped to get some inspiration from them. That's when Tai saw his brother Ken almost get hit by a bicycle. As soon as Ken sits down opposite Tai, he gives him an endless rant. Tai blames his brother Ken for being reckless and tells him to be careful not to hurt himself. Ken tells Tai that his mom has a dinner date this Sunday. Tai's expression instantly deteriorates when he hears that it's his mom asking them to dinner. Ken only focuses on making fun of his brother and gets a lecture from Tai. Tai tells Ken about how he accidentally made a noise because he kicked the corner of his bed. That's how he responds about soulmates. Ken excitedly asks him what happened to the two of them after that. Tai, however, tells him that he hasn't responded again. Ken tells Tai to take pity on his soulmate. People have been talking to themselves to Tai for 2 years now and have never been responded to. Ken also met his classmates from the same movie department. They did not believe that Ken came to the bookstore on his own initiative until Tai confirmed the incident. The classmates also tell Tai. In fact, Ken had always told them about Tai in private, and they were always praising him. Ken feels embarrassed and rushes the classmates away. Ken didn't expect that when he turned his head, he found the movie guide he had been looking for a long time. Tai was very helpless and could only say congratulations to him and tell him to go to the side to have another look. When Ken came back with the book, he couldn't find the movie guide that he had specifically placed on the counter. Ken looked around anxiously. Instead, he found the magazine he had been eyeing in the hands of Leo, a solitary classmate at school. Ken rushes up to Leo and argues that he reserved the book himself. Leo, however, says very coldly, since Ken didn't pay for the book, that means anyone can buy it away. Tai looks at the cute Ken and argues with someone else at the bookstore again. He rushed over to pull his brother back. After understanding what happened, he advised Ken that the bookstore was a public place. Ken was so anxious, Tai comforts him while dragging him to the staff. He asks if the book is still in stock. In the evening, Tai returns home to continue working. He recalls a picture of their family that used to be happy. He is about to get sentimental when it suddenly starts raining outside. He hears the sound of his soulmate singing. At this point, he recalls what his brother Ken told him, so he responded seriously for the first time. When the other was careful to say if it would bother him, he told the other to just keep singing. When the other man finished his song, Tai hurriedly messaged his brother Ken. He said that his brother's offer during the day wasn't bad. Leo was used to being on his own at school. The only thing that made him care was the owner of the charm that hung on his bag. He just never found that person. He took out the magazine he had snatched from Ken earlier and opened it to read it. But he didn't expect to run into Ken, who he had snatched the book from. Very unluckily, Ken took the initiative to go up and provoke Leo, asking him if the book was good. Leo said it's not bad. There is a review of this Sunday's Korean movie in it. Ken immediately went on to say that no wonder Leo's grades were so good, but the movie reviews were copied. Leo didn't want to get involved with the sharp-tongued Ken, so he packed up his things and was about to leave, just when Ken and Leo are arguing over the book, because they were too loud in public. They woke up Chris, the senior, who was resting on the side. Chris catches the two of them and gives them a lecture, mocking them as childish children who are trying to steal milk. Ken and Leo, who were admonished, could only reluctantly call a truce. As Tai is leaving the office, he is stopped by Gaia. The other insists on taking the bus with him. Tai meets an abandoned white kitten in front of the office. He can help but go up and take it in his arms. Gaia told him to be careful. In case the cat was not vaccinated, Tai would be in trouble if he got scratched. Tai's heart and eyes are full of this little white cat, and he doesn't listen to what Gaia says. He also named the kin Mimi. Gaia sees that she can persuade Tai to adopt the cat, so he turned to him and told him how to take care of the cat. Unexpectedly, the sky suddenly starts raining, blocking Gaia's voice. Instead, Tai hears his soulmate talking about how cute he thinks that brother is. Tai's face instantly becomes complicated. Tai takes his new friend, Mimi the white cat, back to his house. He rubbed Mimi's body while saying that by following him, he at least had a home. It's a lot better than Mimi going out on her own and wandering. At this point, it just happened to be raining again. The soulmate on the other side explained. During the day he was with his friends, so he said some strange things. He hopes Tai doesn't care, but he decided, unexpectedly. That's when the rain suddenly stopped. Tai didn't listen to what his soulmate said. Tai is haunted by what he didn't hear. Even when he was working at the cafe, he kept thinking about it. Unexpectedly, he was at the cafe and heard the familiar voice of his soulmate. He couldn't help but look at the man. He saw the man's name and the hospital in which he was engaged. Until the man Saturday across from him, Tai peeked at the man every now and then. The man also acted like a gentleman and educated and talked to Tai very patiently. Tai and the man were having a nice conversation. Unexpectedly, a phone call called the man away. At that moment it suddenly started raining, and Tai rushed after the man to be sure of his identity. Tai spoke up and asked the man his name. The man tells Tai that his name is Fat. Tai finally learns his soulmate's name, which turns out to be Fat. He returned to the cafe satisfied that the rain had not stopped. Fat proceeds to finish talking to him about what he didn't hear yesterday. Tai returns home and talks to his kitten about what happened during the day. The relationship he thought he had even started died halfway through. He drew an unhappy post-it note and stuck it on the doll's head. Tai thought back to the day when his parents separated and his dad packed his bags to leave the house. My brother Sam hugged Dad and wouldn't let him go. Tai looked at his impassive mom and questioned her angrily. Instead, Mom tells Tai that he is happiest when he knows nothing. Tai calls his brother Ken to the cafe in the middle of the night when it's raining. Ken thinks he has something very urgent. Turns out Tai just told him he met and recognized his soulmate because he remembers his voice, but the other side should know Tai's identity. And Tai thinks soulmate Fat is super cute. It's just that Fat tells Tai that he's recently got a crush on someone and wants to fight the established fate. Instead, Ken picks up his bag and writes Tai a sticky note. His advice to him was for Tai to not be so cold to his soulmate all the time. With that, he leaves the cafe. Tai anxiously chases after him, but ends up not catching up with his brother. But then he turns around and meets his soulmate Fat once again. The cuddly Fat asks Tai what's so urgent and if there's anything he can help him with. Shy Tai clutches the sticky note in his hand and is speechless for a moment. Fat notices the words, "Don't be indifferent," written on the sticker. He asks Tai what it means. Tai mentally curses his brother, but with his mouth he explains that it's his new article choice. Without waiting for Fat's reaction, Tai leaves first. Fat stares at Tai's back but smiles. Ken sneezes a few times at school. He thought it must have been last night when Tai made him go to the cafe in the rain to get a cold, but he didn't realize that it was just a precursor to bad vibes. Chris, the senior, called to ask for his help, waiting for Ken to change into a big sable and step into long leather boots in 40-degree heat in Thailand. He then reacted to the fact that he'd been tricked by senior Chris. Chris, the senior, said that the actor for the shoot couldn't come at the moment, but the venue cost money to rent and couldn't be wasted, so Ken was called in to help. Originally, Ken heard the script and thought it was quite interesting, but after seeing Leo as his partner, he instantly had the urge to leave. Ken and Leo are not happy with each other, but they are forced down by Chris, their senior. As a result, when filming started, the two of them were a mess in their scenes. Chris had no choice but to call a timeout. Ken volunteered to take a break and shoot the movie first. Leo guides Ken to do the intimacy exercises, resulting in the two of them shooting in one take. Tai has dinner with Gaia but is always distracted. Gaia asks him if he is having relationship problems. Unexpectedly hitting the nail on the head, Tai told Gaia about meeting his soulmate. Guy could tell right away that it was love at first sight since Tai was so attached to his soulmate. Tai says he doesn't know how to start a conversation with his soulmate in a natural way. Guy tells Tai if Tai likes that person, all the more reason to take the initiative. After all, that soulmate unilaterally insisted on trying to talk to Tai for 2 years. She told Tai to create a good opportunity to connect with his soulmate. Gaia also gave Tai a brilliant idea. Since Fat is a vet, of course Mimi comes in handy. Tai takes Mimi to Fat's hospital, but he's greeted by another female doctor. Tai can't help but ask about Fat's condition, but doesn't say who he's asking about. The female doctor basically answers all the questions. She also admonished Tai for only giving Mimi 1 vaccination at this point. He must remember to come to the hospital for the 2nd injection in 2 weeks. Tai was carrying Mimi and was about to leave when he bumped into Fat. The two of them were surprised and happy to see each other.
แล้วเรื่องใจหมาเป็นไงบ้าง
Tai said a few incoherent words and hurriedly left with Mimi. Several other doctors gathered around Fat with heartfelt smiles. Ken was a last-minute arrival in his new professor's class. His friends around him laughed at him all the time. The professor assigned the midterm homework in the first class. The professor also put Leo in a group with Ken. Ken protests. Instead, the professor tells them that they can just work with their best friends once they're out in the community. Either they need to learn to be professional. Ken waits a long time for Tai at his mom's door. As soon as they both enter, they see their mom busy working. She told them to go ahead and wait at the table. Ken didn't get very good grades last semester and was counted out by his mom. Mom told him to bring his grades up a little this semester. After all, Ken studied his favorite major. Mom asks Tai how he's doing, and Tai coldly says it's just like that. Mom advises Tai that he can't go abroad to pursue his master's degree. She takes care of all Tai's expenses. Tai asks his mom why on earth she called them back. Mom brews for a while and breaks the news that she's getting remarried to her new boyfriend Ken. Tai can't take it and picks up his bag and leaves. Ken chases after her and says it's not right for Tai to leave like that without even talking to her mom. Tai, however, tells Ken now he suddenly feels that creating a connection with his soulmate is not a sensible enough decision. Tai was the child most affected by his parents' divorce, so he moved out early to live alone. That night, Tai was very sad. Just then, he suddenly hears his soulmate Fat kissing someone else. He rushed to apologize to him. Tai, however, just keeps quiet and cries silently alone. Tai bumps into Leo while working at the cafe. Tai asks Leo why he didn't go to class. Leo says it's cancelled and asks Tai why Ken didn't tell him. Tai says he leaves alone. In case they live with Ken, the two of them are sure to fight. Leo is impressed with Tai. Tai also found out that Leo had a lot of books that he liked but didn't have. Leo asked for Tai's address and said he would send Tai's favorite books to him. Tai felt embarrassed. After all, those books are hard to find and expensive. Leo said he would be happy if Tai would buy him a cup of coffee.
ผมก็คิดว่าหนังสือพวกนี้ถ้าได้อยู่ในมือของคนที่รักมันจริงๆผมว่ามันคงจะดีกว่า
He also said that he hopes that his future date, like Tai, can share his hobbies. Tai took Mimi to the pet hospital for her 2nd vaccination. Because of what happened earlier, he really didn't want to meet up with Fat at the hospital, so he silently prayed that it would still be the same doctor's sister from last time. It did turn out to be the same doctor's sister who vaccinated Mimi. Just didn't realize that halfway through the fight, Mimi suddenly jumped off the stage and escaped. A group of people at the hospital then helped Tai catch the cat, making the hospital a mess, until Tai pushes open the office door and the man's chair turns around. It turned out to be Fat holding Mimi. Not bad for you, Mimi, the messenger of love between the two. You just caught Tai off guard with Fat. Is this what fate has in store for us? Whenever there is a misunderstanding between soulmates, someone helps to create an opportunity. So, can Fat actually capitalize on this opportunity? We'll see you in the next issue.